Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for this information session. My name is Donna Mayer. I am facilitating this event, but you will have your hosts from the Pennsylvania College of Art and Design momentarily presenting their information to you. Right now, I just want to share my screen very quickly and share information about the presentation and what the expectations are. So if you have questions during the event, feel free to go into the Q&A box and post your questions. The presenters will answer them either whilst the presentation is happening or maybe at the end of the presentation, they'll answer all the questions at once. You as students, your cameras and microphones are turned off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. But there's my dog. The only way that they'll be able to communicate with you is through those questions. So please take advantage of that chat feature. And if you're interested in signing up for more sessions, they are available through the www.njacac.org/virtual fair, as well as upcoming recordings of all the events that are happening through this 2-week presentation. So I'm going to now turn it over to the presenters, and I hope you all have a great day.
All right, thank you. Let me get my screen up here really quick. Alrighty. So, as Donna said, my name is Osmanori. I am an admissions counselor and alumni of Pennsylvania College of Art and Design, and I will be going through our presentation of what PCAT has to offer and what we're presenting in the future, possibly next year. To start off with, give me 1 second here. To start off with, our motto at the college is seeing differently, and how we cultivate that motto is projecting on our students to think outside the box, think creatively, and then prepare them for a life outside of the college, where they can join their careers and look up to their aspirations of being a better artist and pushing them outside their comfort zone. Just a little bit of background information about the college. We were founded in 1982 for artists by artists. We're about 40 years old, roughly. You get your bachelor's in fine arts degree when you come to the college, and any of our 5 majors presented here on this page. Those are animation and game art, fine art, graphic design, illustration, and photography and video. And coming next year, it would be live entertainment and experience design. I will get more into that major once we get to that slide in the presentation. Another thing we like to pride ourselves on at the college is being called a micro college. What that means is our total enrollment is usually just under 300 on average. That provides our students a lot of personal experience. That's something you'll hear me repeat a lot within the presentation, and understand that's one of our core values at the school. And we're located in downtown Lancaster. That could be about 3 hours away, depending on where you are in New Jersey, but we're right in the middle of downtown, and we're one of the core spots within Lancaster, PA is a growing city. As I said, the personal experience is one of our core values at the school. We like to think that our size lends itself to providing a lot of our students with that one-on-one faculty inclusion, a lot of our students being able to talk to their teachers and get that experience of working industry professionals. One thing I wanted to state here is our student ratio is about 10-to-1 roughly, maybe 12-to-1, depending on what classroom you're in. Like I said, that lends itself to getting that individualized attention that we so crave in our school. And this is typically what one of the classrooms may look like. This is our Cintiq lab and our animation and gaming art studio. We do have state-of-the-art equipment. This major is a couple of years old now, but we're always updating our equipment for what the students need and what the faculty needs. Potentially, this is what one of your classrooms will look like. Like I said, the teacher would stand up front, do a demo, and essentially throughout the classroom, you'll be able to ask questions and get their insight on what you're doing throughout the day. The personalized experience, as I said again, is one of the bigger things that we pride ourselves on through our classwork, through our field trips, through our curriculum. We always want our students to have that personalized experience where they know that their teachers are available, the faculty are available, or even students from other majors are available to them, and being able to bounce ideas off of each other or just talk about ideas and figuring out what they want to do within their major. Also, something that we like to present at the college is having our students become strong communicators. We usually do that through our liberal arts classrooms, and one of the first things that we teach our students is to be able to talk about and write about their work through the communication and visual arts classes in their foundation year. And to add to that, 95% of our PCAD students are usually employed or in graduate within a year of graduation. We usually like to credit that with our business development classes and a number of different events that happen around the college. We do have an on-campus and online career advising network that we use for alums and current students. We also provide professional practices courses, as I said before, in our junior and senior years. Along with that, we do have mentorships and internships that cater to the business side and career development of what students want out of their careers and becoming artists. One of the major points that I did want to point out with these other events that we have is Design-a-thon. Usually that's a graphic design orientated event, but lately in the past couple of years, it's been developed for all of the majors included at the college. It's a 24-hour event where students get together, local businesses come in and pitch their ideas to these groups of students. And after 24 hours, they pitch their idea in real time to these clients. And then if they end up winning the pitch, their marketing materials end up being out in the real world, marketing for that business locally and or internationally. It just depends on who they bring in. But these, like I said, this list is some of the things that we do to provide our students with real world applications and career opportunities while they're in the college. And then these are also some of the places that some of our alums and or students who have interned with or gone on to get jobs with. One of the places I did want to talk about is Curio Sketch Club up in the corner here. Matt and Nicole, who are alums of the school from 2008, ended up starting their own gallery, sketchbook, and business across the street from where the school is. They bring that experience into the school. Also, Matt is a teacher at the school as well, so he brings his gallery experience and all of the things that he's done in the art world into teaching the students in foundation year in his drawing one class. And then these are just some examples of what your faculty and staff may bring to the table when talking to them or teaching in their classrooms. So one thing I wanted to talk about as well is living in Lancaster. I know that the 3-hour hike or 3-hour commute can be quite tasking on a lot of students. We do provide housing for our students. It's off campus. It's about 2 blocks away from the school, so it's definitely within walking distance of the school. And we do have 2 other locations that are about 4 to 5 blocks away. Our student life and student housing department focus heavily on finding the roommate that you would want to live with or the place that you'd want to live. But we recommend that if you don't want to live within our student housing, we do have landlords in contact with us regarding that we've been in touch with essentially over the years that can help you find a place that's not our student housing as well, if you feel more comfortable doing that. We're located in Lancaster, as I mentioned in the beginning. This provides us the chance to travel to 4 major cities, as well as Washington, D.C., which is not pictured here. We frequent major trips to these areas. New York, Philly, and Baltimore are probably the closest and the ones we frequent the most, as well as Washington, D.C. Students may get trips within classes to go to any of these major cities. We usually have a all-school field trip as well that provides a lot of opportunities for our students to see what's going on in the world, to see what's going on in these major cities, and also provides the students to basically visit artist studios and visit other working professionals out in the world that the staff may know or be in contact with. One thing we like to say as well is the city is our campus. Lancaster is a hustling and bustling city, and the art scene is always growing and always growing into something newer. I encourage a lot of the students to get out and see what Lancaster has to offer. There's music festivals, there's pride events. Right now we're running Music for Everyone, which is an organization around Lancaster where they have like a semi-truck that goes around and has different musical acts sing on it. That also gives our students opportunities to get involved in events that are going around within Lancaster as well. We also have a number of murals and mural projects that students are getting involved in and or artists around Lancaster are providing for our students. And then if as a student that lives inside the campus or not inside the campus, but inside the city, I should say, we do have opportunities for our students to get a lot of local produce and groceries. We like to cultivate that experience where you get to live on your own and understand what it's like to live on your own and cultivate that whole independent type feel for our students. So housing is located on King Street. which is like right over here to the left. But this big orange building is Lancaster Central Market, where a lot of our students tend to frequent for local produce and local meals. Honestly, they get a lot of shopping done there. That's just one of the many hotspots, or I should say attractions within Lancaster City as a whole. And then there's our building. So within foundation year, let me start off with that. Within foundation year, it's kind of a double-edged sword where you tend to get a gamut of all the majors at once. You get classes in photography and 2D design and painting and sculpture, etc. This provides our students with the opportunity to be able to make up their mind on what major they want to do if they're undecided. But if you already have in mind what major you want to do going into your sophomore year, that helps you essentially get different perspectives from different majors and different students, and just helps you grow that much more while going into your sophomore year. And then these are just some examples of the foundation year students and their work. Okay. And one thing I did want to add on top of the foundation year and what's coming next year within our focus as an institution, we do have liberal arts focus areas and our new minors program coming next year. You can major in any one of these minor programs as long as it doesn't match up with your major that you're already doing. So you can't take animation and gaming art and then minor in animation and gaming art. That would be redundant. But if you wanted to dabble in any of these minors while you're working with your major, you can do that. Also, you can take any one of these liberal arts focus areas as well, dealing with art history, humanities, verbal communication, life and physical sciences, dealing with physical therapy, things like that, math, and behavioral social sciences. And that's all coming in the fall of 2021. So, like I said, we have 5 majors, one coming next year as well, but I will start with animation and gaming art. Within the animation and gaming art major, you will work exclusively with digital media and a number of different medias, working with traditional and or digital medias that can deal with concept art, 3D design art, dealing with gaming, set design, film and camera aesthetics in the digital realm. But they work with you in that realm to deal with visual effects. Within gaming trailers, we've had students go on to do music production, set design as well, things like that. But next, I'm going to show you a little bit of some examples of what animation and gaming art major brings. Okay, so the fine art major is very self-directed. I will say that a lot of our students, it's very, very broad and open to a lot of our students. It is self-guided, but the teachers provide enough materials and access to what they're doing to guide you in the right direction of what you want to do as an artist. You can be gallery director, you can be a fine artist, you can be a muralist, you can do social activism through your artwork. Some of the things that they'll focus on is painting. Sculpture will be one of your foundation courses with 2D and 3D design, and that'll roll over into your sophomore year. Talking about contemporary art and historical art within the fine arts major, challenging those concepts of media and form, and then also your senior thesis and critique is more or less dealing with what you want to do as an aspiration, like your senior thesis project, what focus you want to take on, and then developing those skills for your senior show, essentially. And we've had students do a number of different things. They've done full-blown sculptures. Pictured here is a student that did 6-foot drawings about his identity. Printmaking is also one of the aspects of the major that you can take a class in and then develop your skills in that mindset. Going into t-shirt design or clothing design in that way. We do have examples of students that have done sculptures and then more traditional painting medias. And then we have their social activism with murals, a number of opportunities that I've mentioned before with murals around the city and getting in touch with Lancaster Public Art, which is one of our organizations that students tend to work with, and artists around the nation, or not nation, the city tend to work with as well, to get up and running and find opportunities that way. And within the graphic design department, one of our other majors, usually when students think of graphic design, they think of branding, web design. Essentially, it's visual communication and teaching our students how to understand and communicate their visuals through a medium that usually isn't common, using UX, UI design, that's usually within coding, understanding how websites work and how coding works, and how to navigate those spaces using graphic design. Publication design can be with book covers, packaging is also, with candy bars, branding, shoes, things like that. And as you progress through the major, essentially you build up into the basics, and then as you keep going, you learn a lot of different techniques where once you get to your junior and senior year, you're using all of those techniques to create your own websites, cards, and then going out to different businesses and understanding how they work and using the skills you've learned in the school to cultivate that career experience. And then by the time you get to your senior year, you're already out in the world doing professional things, trying to market yourself to different brands and working within those brands while you're still in school, essentially. And these are just some campaigns that some students have run over the last year. And as I said, there are a number of different facets to graphic design. You have promotional materials here on the left, and then one of our graphic designers created our senior show template for the marketing materials for senior show one year. We usually hold a contest within graphic design where the senior designers compete for the marketing of, for the marketing of the senior show. And then if you end up winning that contest, all the marketing for the show is yours, and it's out there, and we create banners and sandwich boards and things like that to promote the show, and it's all your work. So that's just one of the opportunities we provide for the graphic designers. Oh, sorry about that. So within illustration, there's a couple of different tracks you can take. Traditionally, people tend to think that illustration is more like comics, story-driven, working with storyboards to develop characters. One of the things they focus on within the major is developing anatomy, so you understand how your characters will work in a space or within an environment that you're trying to place them in. Contemporary track, I should say, deals more with product design, typography, pattern designs, giftware, things like that that are more modern. You'll see in like gift shops, things like that. But then classical track essentially is working within representational paintings, storytelling, narrative image making. That's more like comic-based graphic novels, I should say, dealing with how to create a story and portraying a mood in your work while also having your own characters and your own spin on things. And then these are just some examples, as I said before. And then within photography, the photography and video major, we try and bridge the gap between film and digital. In the ever-growing world of digital, we always like to keep it in line with film and where photography actually began. So we start the students off with basic traditional techniques of learning how light works, techniques of composition, framing, things like that. And as you progress into the major, you'll learn techniques into film development, using color film, understanding how color grading works in film, understanding how to also develop color film, and then getting later into the major, you may learn techniques in lighting, understanding installation work, looking at how photography affects installation work and different medias in that way. Then once you get to your senior experience, you'll work on your branding, business development, web design, also all of those things within your senior year leading up to the senior experience that all the majors have to go through. And just going through that process and understanding how photography is always expanding, and there's a number of different opportunities presented to our photography and video majors. And lastly, with our newest major, our newest major coming next year is our live entertainment and experience design major. When it comes to this major, we like to think of, when you think of concert setups or lighting in concerts or pyrotechnics, things like that, this major is completely centered around that aspect of creating an environment, using all of those skills and putting them all together to create an experience for viewers either on television or in live concerts, almost extending reality for a lot of what people see. And as I said, this major is always developing, always growing, and that's coming next year in fall of 2021. So what couple last things to apply to the college, it's simple application. We do have an application portal online on our website. You can apply there and it'll fill out all the information, or not fill out all the information for you, but you fill out the information, click through and you'll get a notification that we received your application. Also, you need to submit a portfolio online. Obviously, circumstances have made it so we can't do things in person right now, but we do have a portal in place online for you to submit your portfolio, and we'll be notified as your counselors of what is in your portfolio and how you're doing in that way. A 250 to 500 word personal statement is also required, and that goes into detail about why you want to come to the school, what you like about work, or your artwork, I should say, or art in general, and what made you choose to come to PCA&D and why you chose art as a career path. High school transcripts are always a must. We do usually require one all the time. You can submit one while you're in school, but we also require a final high school transcript once you graduate with your final grades on it. And one thing we are doing now is trying to have students schedule an interview with us. It lets us get to know who you are and why you want to do the things that you do on a more personal level. Excuse me. And it's more a better way for us to just talk to you rather than, going back and forth via email in that way. One thing I did want to mention is the FAFSA deadline is March 1st. I highly recommend a lot of the students fill out their FAFSA now, because it can be a lengthy process, and I wouldn't want anyone to be down to deadline day and miss that March 1st deadline for free student aid. One more thing that I want to mention that's a huge part of us as an art school, portfolio prep and the portfolio in general. For our portfolio requirements, you require 8 to 10 pieces of recent and original work. That's usually within the last year of you creating it. You need at least 2 observational drawings. Those can be still lifes, portraits, anything that can be drawn from observation in front of you works for that requirement. Presenting your work in a clear and well-lit manner. So let's say you have paintings or sculptures. We want to make sure they're well lit, so you're showing us the best of what your work has to offer. And it's not, it's up to the best quality, I should say. And then do your piece to show off your ideas and skills. In a nutshell, we want to see what you're doing, not what others have done. And we want to see like what you're cultivating in your own artistic mindset, and just moving forward, want to see what you're doing, like I said. And then showing equal amounts of breadth and depth. That's more or less showing us a variety of subject matter while also using a variety of different medias and subjects. We want to see that you have depth to your work and you're not stuck in one way. So it would be helpful to have as much variety as possible with a much different medium as possible within your portfolio. And then lastly, being able to talk about your work and creative process. Some students may have trouble with this, but it's one thing that we like to have our students pride themselves on, our applicants coming into the school, is understanding their work and being able to talk about it with us, so that we know they're taking this seriously and they understand what they're presenting to us in the portfolio review. We do offer scholarships. There's the President's Promising Artist Award and our Portfolio Merit Scholarship competition that we recently just started. And you can get aid through both of these scholarships. PCA&D also accepts other scholarships that are outside the school. If you go to pcad.edu/financial aid on our website there's a search engine for scholarships specifically that pertain to our school and that you could use and look up. We also have a PCAT admissions and events calendar. If you go to our admissions and visit us page, there's a whole list of events that we're holding as admissions reps and or holding at the school that you can look and register for. We also hold daily info sessions weekly. You can also sign up there on the website for any of those info sessions, and they may usually consist of an admissions counselor and a student, so they can answer your questions on the fly, or if you feel more comfortable just having a one-on-one session that way, that's the way you can do it. That's all the presentation. If you have any questions or would like more information about the college, feel free to look on pcad.edu, or you can email me at ore@pcad.edu as well. And any of our social media links also have links to our website, or if you want to keep up with anything that we're doing as a college, you can go to any of those links. So thank you.
And if anybody does have questions, we do have time to answer any questions. You can just go ahead back to that chat box and go ahead and ask, and we will be more than happy to answer them. Okay, so we have one question, which is how big is the campus?
Well, on average, like I said, we're just under 300 students. So the campus is essentially like a block. It's two buildings. Let me see if I can go back real quick. Sorry about that. But, oh, not too far. Sorry about that, folks. So this building right here with all the lights on it is the main campus where you enter, but then also this building here. So it's roughly a block and then another half a block how big the school is. But essentially the campus is honestly all over Lancaster. We're kind of ingrained in what Lancaster is, but we are mostly in these two buildings here.
All right. Any other questions?
Got another one.
Okay, so this question is film and videography. Okay, so this question is, if I am not interested in fine art and drawing, but rather film and videography, how should I go about creating my portfolio? Do I still need illustrations?
It would help to have a broad portfolio, honestly. If you have more of a focus based on film and photography, I would include that in your portfolio at the beginning, but then supplement different materials where you have drawing, you have different paintings, things like that. It always helps to have a diverse portfolio, but if you're stronger in one suit, I would say within your portfolio, have that first, and then have supplement different drawings and things like that throughout your portfolio so it makes sense, I would say.
And to add on to that, we do require 2 observational drawings. So that is just to see how you're doing when going into the foundation year. But we do take into consideration if you are not familiar with drawing or had a lot of training with that, we do take that into consideration looking at your portfolio, but we still want to see you try and attempt it since that is a big part of our foundation year. All right. The next question is, any advice for students who still don't have their own art style yet? Good question.
You want to answer that one, Julie? Or you want me to answer it?
Up to you.
Okay, I'll answer. It takes time. One advice I would give to students or artists that are trying to develop their own art style, you'll find inspiration from other artists and historical figures and historical artists. I would say look at people that you like and don't exactly copy what they do, but see what their strong suit is and see what distinguishes them from everyone else, and kind of take bits and pieces into your own work, and then just go like kind of replicate what they do and then develop your own little niches in what you're drawing or what you're creating and things like that. It all takes time. It's your style will develop over time, and once you get into it and realize like what your style actually is, you're like, oh, it clicks. But I would say just look up as much inspiration as possible. Definitely historical figures that have like what they've done and what they've done differently to change the industry, or like what they're doing. Essentially, is like the best advice I can give. Just keep looking up inspiration.
And to add on to that, while you're looking at colleges, it's okay to not have your own style of art when you are going through the college process.
Yeah.
During the college experience, you are basically honing in on your skills and trying to figure that out in your classes. So if you're going to apply to a college, don't be super worried about not having your own art style. A lot of colleges understand that that might not have come to be yet, especially in high schools. All right, any other questions that we have? What is the tuition?
It's 25,000 overall, and split between 2 semesters. It's 12,500.
Anything else?
Oh, there's one.
How much is housing?
Ooh. Really, do you have that answer?
So with our housing, it does change depending on which buildings that you go to. Plus, also it also depends on if you are looking for a building that is owned by PCA&D, or if you're looking to live in the city in an apartment that you find yourself. So that can range. If you do have any specifics of what you are thinking about looking at, we could definitely connect you with our housing department, who has the statistics about a little bit how much housing does go. But again, it does change depending on how many roommates that you have, whether if you go through the school to find the housing or you go through a housing referral service, which is our service that allows you to look at different apartments around the city that aren't owned by the college. Any other questions? Good questions, everybody.
Thank you. Any others?
And like we said before, we know that we kind of just gave you a bunch of information at once. If you do think of questions afterwards, you can reach out to Osmond or even admissions@pcad.edu. We would be more than happy to help you from there as well.
Sure. Mhm.
Hello there. Great session. Fantastic information. So if we're wrapping up the information session, I truly, truly encourage you all then to reach out to Osmond or Julia, the admissions offices they recommended, to get any questions, additional questions you might have answered. Information is key. So it's really important that you understand as much as you can about a school you're considering. And all of us, all of our work in the college admissions processes, I know my attitude, and I'm sure my colleagues will agree with me, we're trying to get you to the school where you're going to be happiest and the school you want to stay at. So information is really valuable. So reach out and ask those questions that you have. I'm going to share my screen one more time, just some reminders for the attendees really quickly. Let me call that up for you. So if you're interested in helping us out just to see how you feel this event was run, we have a quick survey after you close the window, but just a 4-question survey. So please take the time to complete that for us. If you want to sign up for more sessions, again, those are also available through NJACAC.org/virtual fair, as well as any recordings for any other presentations that were already, any other schools or colleges that are already presented. So I'm going to stop the share now. I want to thank Julia and Osmond from the Pennsylvania College of Art and Design for presenting today. Students, families, thank you for spending a little bit more time in front of the screen, but again, this is a valuable resource for you, so we're happy to provide it. Everyone have a great day. I'm going to end the meeting now.